Corp-ABML stock, American Battery Technology Co. So for the last trading session, which was the session of the 29th of April 2022, it closed at $1.06, and I think it may have inched up slightly in the post market. The volume also dropped. It wasn't a very huge volume, it was below average. So the loss for that session was 2.75. And then in the broader news, in the wider news, it's according to the Financial Times in their publication of that day, the 29th of April 2022, they had an indication somewhere that Biden is in a final push to save his Build Back Better deal. So they're saying that the White House is making a last-ditch effort to salvage part of President Joe Biden's one sweeping economic agenda, dropping spending commitments and focusing on deficit reduction to win over centrist Democratic senators. Officials said they still wanted to pass elements of the Build Back Better program. Biden's attempt to overhaul the U.S. welfare system, despite previous resistance from within the party. Okay, so the original 3.5 trillion Build Back Better plan was designed to overhaul the U.S. social safety net and cement Biden's reputation as a reforming president. So we all know that within that Build Back Better deal, is the green push, and it's expected that American Battery Technology Co. will be a key beneficiary of that. So we'll just see how things are going to pan out. And down here in the news that is much more pertinent to ABML, on the 25th, which is Monday, the 25th, they indicated that they've appointed Kimberly Eckert as the new chief financial officer. What did they say there? It's saying she served as vice president at Deutsche Bank in global corporate investment banking of its natural resources, metals and mining group. Eckert previously served as the director of strategic development at Coir Mining. Yes, that's about it's a brief snapshot about that lady. And then also on that same day, they also indicated that they have another appointment. I think it says here American Battery Technology Co. hires critical minerals and precious metal strategic development expert as a CFO. Okay, that's still the same news. So what we have also seen is that since the 19th of April, is that so? Yes, since the 19th of April, the stock has now, because we have, on the broader economic picture is not a very wonderful one. So the stock has continued to plot lower lows and lower highs, and has we can see here that on that day as well, as a matter of fact, on that day, the 19th, it's 10-day moving average proved a resistance. It was at $1.3, and then again it completely plunged all the way down to 1.07 and started to extend again, and also met a resistance just slightly below the same moving average as well on the 25th, which was last week Monday. And then it's pulled back again, and then on the 27th, which was Wednesday, it met a resistance at its 50-day moving average. So that's just an indication that yes, it's been bearish for the stock of late, especially since the last 2 weeks. And as you can imagine, all these indicators on oscillators are just doing the same. But it seems also that momentum seems to be improving at the moment, and then we can also see that the volume also dropped, so we also know very well that when a trend is in place, what amongst other things you have to also look at is the volume. So and we definitely also saw above here that the volume was below average, 800, not even up to 1 million shares, and the average volume for the last 10 trading sessions is about 1.90 million shares, and for the last 90 days is 2.664. Let's see whether we can get the volume for the last. Okay, we don't have the last the average for the last 52 last 12 months average daily volume. So yes, and yes, when the volume drops, it might be an indication that that trend may be coming to an end, and we can also see that the momentum is also indicating maybe also, yes, and we know very well momentum precedes price action. So maybe there is an opportunity, a small spike. There might be, they may have reached the bottom. It may have reached the bottom at 1.06 for now. Fortunately enough, it's not the lowest it has fallen so far this year. The lowest it has fallen this year is up $0.66. So it is indeed holding up for at least 2 weeks. It's suffered. It's survived. They survived a sell-off, that in the broader market sell-off. This sell-off began for it on the 4th of early this month, 4th of April, and early last month, 4th of April, and it's just been able to hold up. The entire month was just a totally bearish one, even though of course there were occasions where it tried to rally. It tried to rally, and that was mid month, at the middle of that month. It tried to rally, but never rose above that 10-day moving average of its daily chart. So momentum, volume has dried out, or has dropped. Maybe it's an indication that maybe that bearishness may have reached the bottom. May have reached the bottom. So at American Battery Metals, or ABML, appears to be consolidating within a longer term downtrend. Okay, shares are presently below the 200-day moving average, which is falling along with its 10-day moving average. However, the average directional index, or ADX, is below 20, indicating that the shares have exhibited sideways movement recently. It's also outperforming the S&P 500. Has it exhibited sideways movement recently? Well, you could say that. It doesn't have to be, the way we know it, just moving sideways, but it's been trading within a certain range. You can see that since the 13th of April, it's been trading between 1.3 and 1.6. So that's quite a narrow band. So moving on, we can see let's see what the momentum is indicating. It's strongly bearish. Okay. The 14-period slow stochastic oscillator is below 20, the level which many analysts call oversold. This means that investors have been actively selling shares and driving the price lower. Yes, but it also doesn't recognize the fact that even though it is oversold, you can see it is clearly sloping upwards, but it is still oversold. Without about it, it's in the oversold territory, and we know that also when it is oversold. So this is also another thing I didn't mention. It is oversold. This is an oscillator. It's just it goes between 100 and 0 and 1. It's bound between 0 and 100. So if it's in here, it will, yes, it will whilst it's in there, the natural thing is, even though it may dwell in that oversold condition, or in that overbought condition, it may also come out of it. So expect it to also now bounce out. So once it bounces out, it's likely to be with a spike. So this 14-period slow stochastic oscillator is hinting at something, hinting that the buy deep opportunity may be there, especially given what has happened with the volumes. So volume, the unbalanced volume indicator is bearish. The slope of the indicator is negative and suggests that there is a lack of buying interest. So yes, maybe there isn't as much buying interest there, but we also know that it doesn't mean that everybody has gone away. Some are observing things, and it is at this time when things are a bit quiet that some market participants may begin to pick up more of the shares, and to take advantage of the fact that it has it has discounted a bit. You can see it is clearly trading at a discount to all of its moving averages. It has trading at a discount to all of them. So I think there might be some opportunity there in the very short term for American battery metals. So see what you make of all of these things, and including the fact that Biden is trying to rejuvenate his Build Back Better deal. Okay, so thank you very much for watching this video.